Hello everyone, welcome back. We're here. We're on Clover. We're doing this Nook Miles card thing. I'm going to try and upload these like every other week. Hopefully, potentially, that's my goal. Because I've been going day by day. I've been time traveling, in case that isn't obvious. It's not, probably. Because when I upload this, it will be stopping on the day in game that this video is going out, I think. It should be, anyway. I also, for reference, had to go back in time to do the winter fishing tourney. There's no humanly possible way that I would have been able to do it with normal means if I didn't time travel, because resident services wasn't ready, and the winter fishing tourney always happens the second weekend in January or whatever. So there's no way that this would have been a thing that happened in this playthrough, because there's a Nook Miles card for it. So for the bug off and the fishing tourney, you do one every season and you get a Nook Miles stamp for participating. So I just did the one round in the fishing tourney, because you have to pay to do multiple rounds unless you do it in multiplayer. Now, to be fair, at the time, I didn't realize that I could have just linked up with my first main island, because there are two separate Nintendo accounts that I'm using, and I could have had my main island come over and do the thing in multiplayer, and then I wouldn't have had to pay to do the fishing tourney. But that is something that we can worry about in the future when there are events happening in the game. I also think I talked about this in, I don't know if it was Nan's home remodel or the hotel room builds that I did. I think it was Nan's home remodel. I did go to Treasure Islands and I got a bunch of Nook Miles tickets, and I also got some wood, but I'm still chopping at trees every day because of that stupid wood chopping goal. But I needed Nook Miles tickets, partially, well, not really only because of villager hunting, although that is partially it, for whenever there's an empty plot, although I have just been letting it autofill, which has been biting me in the butt, but also because of resources. So right now on this island, we end with having done the whole hotel storyline. So now it's to the point where we have lost tourists coming, and we can have them stay in a room and build a room, or have them stay in a pre-built room or whatever. But because we already did the first VIP room, after that, Cap'n will take you on another tour. He'll do 2 tours per day now. He'll do the first one with Nook Miles and the second one with hotel tickets, which is great. I don't have a lot of hotel tickets on this island. I have I think the very smallest amount, because I've been spending a lot of them, and I haven't been doing as many of the DIY requests because a lot of them want materials that I don't have. Luckily, they all refresh once Monday hits. The other thing that I need to work on is Harv's Island. The only thing I did, which we do in this video, is we go there and we do the tutorial, because then you can order posters. But after that, once we hit 3 stars, we got the call from him that said that we can come and do the co-op. I haven't done that yet because that requires money that we don't have. The main thing I'm focusing on is the home loans, because of the whole storage thing. Not only just to improve my storage size, but also because I want the storage shed. I need the shed item that you get from Nook Miles, and I need the DIY that you can craft, which I think you also get from the Nook Miles thing. I can't remember, but I do need those because it will be very helpful for the whole Cap'n hotel thing, and for just chucking items in there so I don't have to go all the way back to my house. I do have warp pipes placed down, which have been very helpful. But the other thing that I was thinking about that I kind of forgot, and I was thinking about it as we were playing this, as I was sitting here playing this game, I do need to do something with this island. I do need to decorate it. We do need to do something. I think that I'm going to go back on what I said about no terraforming. I am going to terraform, but maybe a little bit, not a ton. I did the bare minimum just to get the stamps for the Nook Miles card by just placing down 1 path, 1 cliff square and 1 waterscape square or whatever, and then I just got rid of them because it wasn't worth it at the time. But we need to get to 5 stars because we need the golden watering can recipe, because there's a Nook Miles card for obtaining golden tools, not even crafting them, just picking them up. And I don't want to go to a Treasure Island and pick them up, that's cheating. I will, however, extort Treasure Islands for bell purposes. So I will not do the whole turnip thing for max bells. I did a video on that a while ago. That's not going to help my case here because it does wipe out the cornering the stock market Nook Miles card, and the only way to be able to get it back from hell is to go to a Treasure Island and sell for like the amount that you need for the card or something, like to get it back up from whatever the negative number is. I don't fully understand it. I use Nook's Treasure Islands. They have a robust system set up for all this, but we're not doing that because that's going to screw me over. So after the home is paid off, I'm going to go to Treasure Islands and I'm going to get expensive stuff to sell, like the crowns or whatever, for the purposes of harves and also the storage upgrades, because the storage upgrades are optional. They're helpful, but they're optional. The main thing is the stamp card for the house, because you get like a stamp every time you expand your house, essentially, like when you have a new room added on or whatever. And I'm realizing too, the thing for placing down interior furniture, I didn't know that if you put stuff away that you had in your home, like if you put it in storage, you have to then place more items in your house to get the total amount to be greater than what it was prior, like with the stuff that you put away. I don't know if that makes sense, but like say that I have 44 items in my home, which at the time I did, and I put away 2 of them. I would have to then place down 3 items in order to get to the 45 out of 50 or whatever it is for the Nook Miles achievement, to get like to the 50 items or something, to get closer to that. I didn't realize it. I was Googling this. It's the Horde reward card. I was Googling it. I ended up on Reddit. I found out the information because I was very confused as to why it wasn't going up when I kept placing stuff down. Turns out that it's because I put a bunch of stuff away when I was redoing the house, because I had just placed random stuff down to get the Happy Home like Academy letter and to get more items, and whatever the reasoning was for that, I don't know. But now I have to go back and put more stuff down. I mean, we're going to tackle the house eventually. The Horde reward thing is neither here nor there. The ones that I'm the most concerned about completing are Flea Flicker, the Fossil Assessment, and the Smile Isle card. I completely forgot that the max amount that you need to complete the Smile Isle card is 300 quests, and I'm panicking. I mean, when I'm recording the audio for this, which like I'm doing it after I've already done all the gameplay footage, but it's the end of January, and I think we've done like 5 requests or something maybe for Smile Isle, but I also hadn't been taking it seriously. And then the other day, again, I was doing research for this video and I realized that it was 300. And also I was listening to, I had a Dagnall stream on in the background, like as I was playing, because he's been playing the 3.0 update, and he was talking about it too, because there are some Nook Miles cards that even he hasn't finished and he's been playing since launch, like on the island that he's created since launch. So I looked back at my own Smile Isle card for my main island, which I also started at launch, and I finished the card in 2022. It was in like the beginning of 2022, I think, that I finished it, or mid 2022. I can't remember. It was like not at the latter half of the year though. So the good thing is, apparently, according to Reddit, you can cheese it a little bit by like running around and talking to all your villagers, and eventually one of them will ping you with a request, I guess, if you talk to them multiple times, or if you like save and quit and then reload the game, it kind of like resets them or whatever. I mean, also, they've added more quests when we got the 2.0 update, because prior it was just like doing a treasure hunt or giving them medicine if they're sick, or doing like a gift quest or whatever, or a fetch quest, like getting a fish or a bug for them. I don't think it's a sea creature. Do they request sea creatures? I can't remember. I hope not. I really hope not. But I think that we'll have a little bit better odds doing it now, not only with all of that, but also if they ask to come to your house, or if they want you to come to their house, it also counts towards the Smile Isle thing, which is really great. So because they ping you, I feel like all the time now with a request, I don't think it'll be too difficult. I am a little concerned about Flea Flicker, but again, I think you can cheese that a little bit by just like resetting the outside and hoping for the best. I just remember how like when Dagnall was was doing one of his like more recent challenges, I think it was sometime last year in 2025, he had such a hard time getting a single flea to spawn. I hope that that doesn't happen to me. I can't remember how many points you need for the flea flicker thing to like complete it, like how many fleas you need to catch. I'm not looking at it in front of me. I'm sure that by the time I post this video, I will have the information, or one of you guys will just like put it in the comments. But I'm a little panicked. I think that we can do it though. I believe in me. I have a good, positive mental attitude. You guys also have to believe in me, and then we'll get it all done. We'll be good. Anyway, time to gripe for a minute. I've said this before and I'll say it again. I am still disappointed that there's no shopping cart or anything in Able Sisters, or even like an indicator, like a little check mark to show that like you've bought an item previously before. You know how when you go into the DIY menu and there's a little check mark next to the item that you've previously crafted? I know that they don't have that for the stuff that Timmy and Tommy sells at the shop, but that's a little different because like the fitting room interface is so dumb. It's great that we can just buy stuff right off the floor and buy stuff that are on the mannequins. And yes, I know that this is the first game to have a fitting room mechanic, I believe. If I recall correctly, in New Leaf, you could only buy what was on the shop floor. But this, while great, having the fitting room is annoying because I don't want to have to go in and out 5 times to buy the same hat in different color swatches. I know everybody's been complaining about this since day one, but I thought this would have been one of the quality of life updates they would have added without telling us. Although, knowing Nintendo, that would have been too much. Same for bulk buying Nook Miles tickets and Bell vouchers. At least let us get them in stacks of 5 or 10, much like you could get things from stacks of 5 at Leafs or, you know, at Nook's Cranny, with the exception of the customization kits, which you can get 50 of now, but that's neither here nor there. I hate the fitting room when starting over on a new island because half the time I don't know what I bought already, and at this point I still haven't unlocked the catalog app for the Nook phone, so I have to run all the way to resident services, and that's my fault for putting the shop and the tailors where they are relative to where resident services is. But again, I just threw everything kind of on the beach or near the beach because eventually we're going to move everything to wherever the permanent places are going to be. So I'm thinking regarding the layout here of this whole island, which we're going to probably work on throughout this, like sparingly off and on. It's not going to be the main focus. I want a lot of clean lines. I want to make it kind of like urban-ish looking. I'm not going for a city build. I don't really have a theme, but I'm thinking like clean lines, a lot of water, like square ponds. I don't know. I have something like this in front of my museum on my main island. I made like a water area, like a giant like reflecting pond almost, or a reflecting pool. In my mind, that's what it's supposed to be. I know it's actually not. You can fish in it, but in the middle of it is the, I think, beautiful statue. The one with the woman with the necklace. Either that or, no, yeah, it is, because I tried to put one of the other ones there, like the Valiant one or something, and it wouldn't have been symmetric with the way that the water was, so I scrapped that idea. But I like it. If you guys haven't seen any of my build videos for my main island when we redid it, I will leave the playlist down in the description and up in the cards somewhere as well. If it's not up in the cards, it'll be in the description at least. When we did the museum build, it'll be somewhere in that playlist. I don't know, but I want to do something like that. Not copying that museum build on this island, but I'm thinking like straight lines, very like geometric houses kind of in little neighborhoods. I want to try doing a cul-de-sac. I know that's not necessarily a straight line. I'm going to have to download some paths, and that's going to be the annoying part here, but I want to try doing a cul-de-sac. I've seen some really nice ones online. I found someone who did like a little overview, like a little template for one on, I want to say it was like Twitter or something. I don't know. I have the post saved, or maybe it was Reddit. It was on somewhere. I have the post for it saved. I think it was Reddit. So I want to try doing that because like I've seen people do them in dream addresses, and I've seen pictures and stuff and video walkthroughs and whatever on like what they look like finished, but my brain can't wrap around how to actually build one. So I'm very grateful for the person who actually did the little like template, like the bird's eye view thing of where the houses should go relative to the road and whatever. If I can find that post, I will link it in the description as well. I'm pretty sure it's on Reddit and I have it saved. I know that because I was going through my saved stuff stuff recently and getting rid of a lot of things, and I did see that there. So I will link it. I found it very helpful. It was a very nice visual aid. I'm sure that if you Google it, you can find the same thing too, but I don't know. It worked well for me to be able to like see how to go about building it. You know what I mean? It's like sometimes the custom design paths, some of them have so many pieces that I don't know how to even use them properly. Not the ones that have like the 9 pieces, like, you know, the 4 edges, the 4 straight ones, like the borders, and then the middle one. I know how to use those, but some of the ones that Colin Crossing does, he has like 20 pieces to one path, because like the way that it's made is like these big long like arched walkways and sidewalks and like cobblestone pathing like an old European town, and I've seen how he uses them, but God forbid I try to do something with it. It confuses me so much I just give up. Are you guys like that? I'm not like that with like the regular, like, you know, the paths, but when it comes to anything more intricate than that, like the 20-piece one or whatever it is that Colin Crossing has, which leads me to my next point. They should have added more custom design slots. I know that we can like save stuff separately to Slumber Islands independently of our main island custom designs, and that's great, but you know what we can't do on Slumber Islands? We can't access the design portal, which is the biggest ripoff in my opinion. We're already connected to the internet. It should be like at a dream address. You know how like when you go to a dream address and the person shares their custom codes and you can do the little portal thing at resident services like in the plaza next to where you spawn in for the dream address? Why didn't they have one of those at the spawn point for the Slumber Island? It would have been so simple. We're already connected to the internet. It would have been the same process as the dream address thing, except you could also access the portal and search for stuff and then save things independently to your Slumber Island to be able to use. I get how that might not work in multiplayer. Like if you're actively playing with friends, like maybe they would have to disable that feature from when you're actively playing with friends. Like apparently when you are actively playing with friends on a Slumber Island, you can't design your house from like the top-down design mode where you can like pick stuff up and move it. You have to like manually push things around like in the olden days. I have not played with a friend on a Slumber Island yet. Also, have you guys tried? So I know like Slumber Islands have their own version of a dodo code, and I think I called it a dodo code in my 3.0 overview video, but it's a doze code. I meant to say doze code, where you can like generate a doze code or whatever and have people come visit, like random people. I saw some post on Instagram where someone was doing a Slumber Island and they had some random people show up to their Slumber Island. There's no way that that really happened, right? Because like for dodo codes to work normally, you would have to know what the code is in order to enter it, and I'm sure it's the same thing for the doze code, unless there were people just like trying random codes. I don't know, because I know like when you do local play, when you have your island open for like local play, anybody can come and that's fine. Like if you just have it open for like local visitors, like people near you, like not using the internet, anybody can show up. They don't need a dodo code. They don't need to be your friend. They can just like come. Versus this thing with the doze code, which again, I haven't tried yet. I haven't done it. I need to like get in touch with my friend and we need to talk about what we're going to do for our Slumber Island and if we're going to do it. But she's also been busy with her life and I've been busy with my life, and she also is still working on her like main regular island, so there's that. But anyway, I haven't done the dose code thing, so there's no way that some like random person can just show up out of nowhere, because like they wouldn't, this is Nintendo, they wouldn't make that be a thing. I mean, yeah, before you guys come at me, you can argue the same thing for a dodo code when you fling the gates open for anybody and have a dodo code there, like not for your friends or your best friends or whatever, but you'd be sharing that somewhere online with the expectation that random people would show up. Maybe I'm reading too much into the reel that I saw. Anyway, going back a few minutes in this video, that blue marlin that I caught on the pier just randomly showed up out of nowhere. I did nothing. I did not throw fish bait. I did not do literally a single thing other than catch that fish. It was so weird. I'm being so legit. I feel like we're pretty lucky. Also, pretty glad that I found Hamfrey in one island. I think he's so silly. I like him. He's cute. A little cranky guy. And And so I have some lore regarding Sylvana. She was on Fawn, my main island. She was the normal starter. I was going to say Peppy. She was one of the starter villagers, the normal one that I think autofilled or something. I can't remember if I hunted for her or if she autofilled. I think I hunted for her. I want to say I hunted for her. And so eventually she wanted to move and I said yes because it was time for her to move. And I wanted somebody, like one of my friends, to come and pick her up, like on the off chance that I wanted to get her back at some point. I also have her amiibo, so this doesn't really matter, even though the amiibo wouldn't be the same Sylvana. Anyway, so I had her starter house, obviously, because she was my starting normal villager. So my cousin got a Switch. This was in 2020. This was also, you know, obviously my launch island that I still have. My cousin was able to get a Switch in the fall of that year because, you know, Nintendo had production issues with the pandemic and everything, and their consoles were all sold out. So she was able to get a Switch. So her and I played a lot of Animal Crossing together. Of course, everything was still locked down at this point. Nobody was going anywhere. It was the fall of 2020. We were playing Animal Crossing and we would like be on the phone with each other. She's around my age, so she's like a little younger than me, but like whatever. We're all full adults here. So she played the game with me, and eventually Sylvana moved through the void to my cousin's island. Now, I didn't know that that was possible because the game had only been out for a few months at that point, and I hadn't really been reading up on a whole lot of things. Like, I didn't really look at data mine information or how stuff worked at that point. Like, I didn't look at a moving guide or anything. So imagine my surprise when I went to my cousin's island one night and talked to Sylvana, and she knew me because it was my Sylvana that lived on my island. I just thought that was really cool. Anyway, I haven't played with my cousin in like years at this point because she doesn't really play the game anymore, I don't think. And whatever, regardless, I thought that was really cool that Sylvana moved through the void to my cousin's island. Now, unfortunately, I also had Hopper and Raymond on my island at different times. I think I got Raymond through, I don't know if it was a treasure island. It must have been, because I think this was before his amiibo was released. And I can't remember what happened with Hopper, how he showed up, but they were both on my island at different times. My ex, my now ex, we were together at the time, my boyfriend at the time, really wanted Raymond on his island. I don't know why. I think it was just because he was popular at the time, and I think he still is. I don't know. Do people still like lose their minds over Raymond? Anyway, he also, I think, wanted Hopper because he thought he was cool. So now Hopper and Raymond both live on my ex's island. And my ex, like I talked about in the first part of this series here, has probably not touched his Switch in several years, and his island is decrepit and full of weeds and whatever, which sucks for Raymond and Hopper. But some more lore here. I was playing on my main island recently, and Hopper was a visitor at my hotel. Obviously, Hopper moved to my ex's island. But because Hopper did live on my island, he knew who I was, because visitors at the hotel who lived on your island previously will remember you. So he was staying in the ranch room on my island. I posted a picture, I think to like my Blue Sky or whatever. Here we are, I was talking to Hopper, and I just thought it was so silly because given the context of what had happened, you know, he lived on my island, he moved to my ex's island, and then he came back to visit me. And I know that this is like, it's not that deep, it's whatever, it's a game, it doesn't matter. But I was like, oh wow, like he really must hate my ex and wanted to come visit me because he's here at the hotel, and you know, he used to live here, so he must have missed me. I don't know, I just thought you guys would enjoy that story. Kind of makes me want to get him back on my island, like obviously through the amiibo process because I have no contact with my ex anymore. But anyway, I thought that was really interesting. I'm kind of waiting for the day for Raymond to show up. You know what was funny too is that Blue Bear and Goldie were both visitors on this island's like resort, I think on different days. And you know, they both live on my launch island and they've been there for a long time. They're permanent residents. And I thought that that was so funny because here we are like playing on this island. Obviously we have a whole different set of villagers than we do on my launch island. And there they were, they just showed up. I do kind of wish that we could curate the visitors somehow. I mean, it's nice that we can at least see who's staying either by wandering around our island or checking the hotel, like by looking at the room map or whatever. I don't know. I also wish that we could just ask them to stay on our island permanently, like go through the whole campsite rigmarole, but with the hotel tourist. Especially because they don't show up if you're going on a Nook Miles hunt. So like if Daisy was a hotel guest and I was hunting for Daisy, I wouldn't be able to hunt for her that day because she would be at the hotel. She just wouldn't show up on a Nook Miles island. And that's really annoying for people who have dreamy villagers because like how are they going to find them? They would have to try and time a move perfectly right, but you don't know who your hotel guests are going to be until you check that day. However, if you time travel back within the same week, I think that they stay as tourists on the same day, like how the stock in Nook's Cranny doesn't change if you go back a day. It's like the same from what it was the previous day. Similar to like if you time travel within 1 week, all of your weekly visitors are going to be the same because everything does like a reset on Monday. Like Captain's DIY requests in Harv's Island, like the co-op thing and the turnip prices and all of your NPC visitors for that week. Like everything happens on Mondays in this game. I am glad that Captain's recipes do a full reset though on Mondays because eventually there comes a point where I'm locked out of a couple of them. Like I'm not gonna go fishing to get garbage to make like a trash wall or a trash floor or trash bags or whatever. I wish that it wouldn't pull from some of the weirdest stuff because like it can literally pull from any DIY that you have. I don't think it can give you the robot hero. We were talking about this in actually like a Dagnall stream. I know I mention him a lot, but I've been watching a lot of his content. Anyway, he was wondering if you could, or I think one of his chatters was wondering if you would have to make a robot hero for Cap'n. And I don't think so. I've definitely gotten requests for the brick well, which is a Nook Miles recipe, but like not the robot hero, thank God. And I haven't seen any of the star recipes, I don't think. Like the star fragment recipes, I don't think I've gotten a request for that. Although I can't remember. I've done so many on my launch island. Like I think I only have one more stamp to do on that card for the DIYs for his request thing. But I'm glad that the whole thing resets on Mondays. The thing with the flowers too, like I don't have a lot of hybrid flowers on my launch island because I have it all how I want. And there are just some flowers that I don't want to have around on my island, which is again why I just go to a treasure island or I skip doing the DIY altogether. However, having the requests is great for this because it means that I am crafting a hell of a lot of things. Like they want tools, they want furniture, they want walls, they want clothes. It's insane. The most payout worthy item that I've gotten is the plate armor in gold, like the golden plate armor for my launch island because like I have that DIY and I think it gave 450 tickets. I posted something about this on my Instagram. It's that and some of the other gold DIYs like the golden arowana trophy and the dung beetle trophy or sculptures, whatever they're called, I can't remember. I think that those and maybe one more are all tied for like the most expensive hotel ticket thing like that you get when you submit them. There's information about this in the data mine. If you guys are interested in actually seeing like the nitty-gritty details of it, I'll post the link to the website with the data on it. Also, can I just say I love Rossetti. Having him here and having him just chuck everything into my storage, not only did that help me with the storage Nook Miles card thing, but also it got rid of all the furniture that we had outside on this whole island, even on the beaches, put everything in my storage. I did dig a few things out and place them like, you know, crafting bench, and I think that I ended up buying a clay furnace from Nook's Cranny or whatever so I could cook at it, and the pipes for fast travel between the dock and my house. And I did stick another crafting bench over by Cap'n's request thing once like the hotel opened and whatever. But having him here, so he showed up after I did the KK concert, like 2 days or something after. He wasn't there the following day, I don't think. And then I time traveled to the next day. He might have been there though and I just didn't see him. But you do need to have done your KK concert and then at least be on the day after your first KK KK concert, like, when you initially hit 3 stars. And then he will be there at some point. Again, this is like a data mine thing. There's some invisible flag that the game checks that has to do with grow up or something for the island status. I'm not 100% sure about it. I'm in like a data mining sort of Discord server that has like a whole bunch of information about the game and stuff, and that's where I found the website that I posted in the description that has like all the data mine info, which is great that it's been updated for 3.0 because it will tell you like exactly about the hotel and unlocking that in Rossetti and whatever. And I don't think anybody is fully aware of what unlocks Rossetti other than just like having done your KK concert and being at the day afterwards. The hotel, you at the very least need to have your museum upgraded from a tent to a building and have reached 3 stars, because Cap'n in general doesn't show up unless you have like 3 stars anyway. Or no, he doesn't show up unless you've like donated a certain amount of things to the museum, because that's what triggers Brewster. But he'll show up anyway, I think, regardless of Brewster now because of the hotel. Maybe I'm completely wrong. All I know is that the hotel happened when I hit 3 stars. I mean, we also got Brewster when we hit 3 stars, or at least triggered the event for it, and that's just because we did donate a certain amount of things to the museum, and the building has been upgraded from a tent to a building, which is so funny because so prior to the update in the spring of 2020 that added art and shrubs, we had like an in-between level of the museum that wasn't fully complete because they hadn't added art yet to the game at that point. So your museum would upgrade from a tent to a building, but it wouldn't be in its final form like it is now with like the red banners outside it and stuff. But now, because of that update, if you start a new island, as you've seen here and as you've seen with my playthrough when we did Kringle, you will upgrade from a tent directly to the fully upgraded museum. There's no in-between stage anymore. Kind of like how when you upgrade from the tent to resident services, except completely different. I don't know. I mean, I like the Roost. I think it's cute. I do like going there for the coffee, and I like the items that Brewster gives us. I also think it's great that we can reorder them from the catalog, because some of those items are really nice, like the little bag of coffee beans. I do also really love the little cup and saucer, although it kind of sucks that it's not filled with a cup of coffee. Like there's no drink in it. It's not like the coffee cup item where it's filled with coffee or tea or whatever it is. This is just an empty cup and saucer. And I think that like Nintendo made a real life version of that. It's either available from the Japanese Nintendo store or somewhere online, I don't know, but like there is a real cup and saucer with the Brewster Roost logo on it that you can get like in real life. And I'm sure you could probably find one on Etsy or something too that someone has made that's like a fan made thing. Really quick though, going back a few minutes, I want to talk about how lucky I was that Lionel asked to move. I can't believe it. I am glad, but I was not so lucky with the autofill, and that's my own fault. I should have gone villager hunting. I didn't, and I'm paying the price. Some Keaton lore here. Lore from my launch island as well. Keaton was my first ever campsite villager on my launch island. So like the first ever campsite villager that I had ever. And he did not come through the void, obviously, because that was like 6 years ago. And I'm pretty sure that he's probably living with somebody else by now. The only other switch that I've connected up with from this island is my main one. So whoever's in my queue on my main island, I don't know how often that refreshes or whatever, probably every time the 2 visit or something. I should actually probably have my main island visit this one again, like my player, just to have the queue all up to date, because Flurry is in there now, so maybe she'll move in. I do have a ton of amiibos though, so I could theoretically just kick Keaton out. I wasn't a fan of him on my launch island because I wanted somebody cute. I wanted Marshall or someone, I don't know. I mean, there are worse villagers. My ex got Klaus as his first camper, which sucks for him, but like whatever. And so Lionel was my first camper here, and he was also my first camper on Kringle, so it's like he's following me, and it's like Keaton is following me from my launch island, even though that's not him. I even had my player from my launch island talk to him, and he did not recognize me, so it's obviously like just a random Keaton from nowhere. Like it's from Nintendo. It's an autofill. But I could just scan somebody else in and kick him out. I'm doing that right now with Chevra on my main island. For those of you who didn't see me redoing Nan's house, I will have that video in the end screen because it's like the most recent one from this upload. So she was in the campsite and I wanted her to replace Elise or Flurry, and she ended up replacing Flurry. The campsite thing just takes so long, and I really would have rather her replaced Elise, but she chose Flurry after choosing a few other villagers that I didn't want to kick out. So of course, you know, I quit the game without saving, as you do, to re-roll the campsite villager chooser thingy. And I wanted to also have Chevra. I talked about this in the video where we redid Nan's house because I know that that would mean that I will have 4 normal villagers living on my island. And that's fine. That's whatever. Because Nan and Chevra are not permanent residents. Goldie and Ellie are. And it would have been the same if Nan had replaced Elise because Flurry is also a normal villager. But now Flurry's in my queue. So maybe if I link up these 2 switches to like have them visit each other again or whatever, maybe Flurry will be an autofill at some point. Wouldn't that be nice? That would be lovely. We've had her on Fawn. We've had her on Kringle. And we might end up having her here. Who knows? I will also not be taking any comments about that situation with the fly. I ended up catching it the next day. It was fine. Nothing bad happened. Everything is okay. I hate the depth of field in this game, and I hate me for not having any depth perception at all. Also, as you know, I am not showing any of me building these hotel rooms because I've been doing that on my launch island. I have actually a backlog of videos that I've created because I've done so many VIP rooms at this point. Not so many, but a few, like 5. I don't know. And I didn't really want to do that here because I don't really have a lot of stuff unlocked. And not only that, I haven't done any of the Happy Home Paradise DLC, so I can't use partition walls or pillars or counters, and I can't make the rooms bigger. So we're just doing basic stuff. There's really nothing exciting happening. It's really just your standard hotel room. I'm also not going to be showing any of me doing the DLC. I'm just going to speed run it like I did on Kringle. I'm going to put down the required items and say bye because I really want to expand my catalog of items, and I also want to get those DIYs to make the things that I mentioned, the partition walls and the pillars and the whatever, and also to be able to convert Pokey to bells. That's going to be very helpful because we're still paying off home loans, and regardless of me using turnip profit to track turnip prices, we're not doing that well right now with the turnip price situation. I think that I'm going to also use my main island as a source for selling turnips. Like if I get a good price while time traveling or playing or whatever, I will then sell the turnips on my main island instead of on this one. I'm not going to use Nintendo Online to like go visit other people and sell turnips or whatever. I don't even think people are actively using Turnip Exchange anymore. I'm not using Nookazon or Discord or Reddit or whatever for Turnip Exchange situations. I know there is a Turnip Exchange subreddit. I've seen posts suggested by that subreddit in like my home feed or whatever, but I'm not participating in that for this playthrough. I mean, really, the cornering the stock market card shouldn't be that difficult to achieve, but also I don't have a lot of bells to spend on turnips, and that's my main downfall. We have nothing in our savings. We're putting everything towards our home loan. We're in so much debt to Tom Nook. The good thing is though, because I've been doing so many Cap'n tours, because we're at the point now where we're doing 2 per day, he's been taking me to a lot of islands, so not only have I been able to get the resources that I need to make DIYs and stuff, but also I've gotten like every single vegetable in this game that we need, except I need to expand my horizons with the whole pumpkin situation, and I don't even think I have pumpkins on this yet. I'm pretty sure I don't. I have like everything I think except for pumpkins, purely because of Cap'n, and also I think I bought some stuff from Leaf when he was here, like the 1 or 2 times that he's been here so far, but everything that I have now I owe to Cap'n, and I'm also going to have to expand my horizons with the amount of crops that we have planted because they do yield a lot of money, and also using them to cook food, because there are a lot of the cooked food items that sell for a good amount of bells. And because Nook's Cranny is upgrading at the end of this video, we'll finally be able to upgrade the shop. They will have a second hot item available every day, which is going to help us a lot with selling stuff and getting bells. And I guess I should also work on more sea creature catching, because while that does yield a lot, it's also going to help with the Nook Miles card, because we do need to catch 2,500 sea creatures in total in the game, like for the amount, not for the amount that there is like to catalog in the Critterpedia, because I think there's only like 40 sea creatures in the Critterpedia. There's some amount that I can't remember. I think it's 40, whatever. Regardless, we're gonna be working on making our bells here, and also I'm time traveling on my main island, and right now currently I am at the point where I think I'm gonna get a large spike in my turnip prices, meaning that I can take this player here once it hits Sunday in this game to buy turnips and go over to my main island and sell them for a big profit. But in order to do that, I need money to make money, and I hate that. Also, I want to talk about Butch, because I completely forgot that when he was a tourist, like a lost tourist, it was the same day that I had decided to do a VIP room for Flurry, who was already staying on the island as a tourist. And because of that, Butch just went into like a random room because the VIP room was already full up. And I didn't know that was like a thing that would happen. Leilani gave me 50 tickets anyway for my trouble, which was great. I mean, like, it was a consolation prize, and it still counted towards convincing a tourist to stay at the hotel. Like, I didn't have to build a room for him. I just had to have him stay. But it was so interesting. I didn't know that that was a mechanic in the game. I mean, I guess it makes sense, because like if you scanned in an amiibo, for example, to stay in the VIP room, and then you found that you had a lost tourist later on in the day, it would make sense that the amiibo wouldn't be kicked out, because the room for the VIP room is only cleared like when the day resets, which is so weird still. I mean, obviously I'm thinking of it from like a realistic perspective right now, like why would that happen? That's way too much work, but it's a game, it doesn't matter. It's just like the room resets. I mean, I get it, like the point is to either scan in an amiibo every day or pick a tourist that's already there, or find your lost tourist or whatever and do the room, but it's just weird that it clears out every day. I don't know. Anyway, I can't believe this is the first time that we've ever had Kix on this island. For some reason I thought that he already showed up, but no, he's here for the first time ever selling his stuff. And this is another reason why I need to unlock Harv's co-op, because he has all the little handbags and stuff, which he will bring with him here. The weird thing about Harv's is that Sahara, I think, is the only one that has special items that she sells at Harv's that she doesn't sell on your main island, which is really bizarre. Like, there's some special wallpaper and stuff that she has that's only exclusive to Harv's. And also, we should do our fortune. I don't think there's a Nook Miles card for having your fortune told, but the fact that it does sort of involve changing your gameplay every day with the luck mechanic, I think that we should do it just to see what happens. But that involves me unlocking everybody at the co-op. I kind of thought that I was going to have a large spike in turnip prices this week, because that is what Turnip Profit led me to believe when I was entering in all the prices every day, but that is not what happened. And then of course we lost a day because Nook's Cranny decided to update itself on a Saturday, meaning that the store was closed, which doesn't matter. I'm playing that Saturday right now. Like, as I'm recording this, I paused it. My game is shut down. My Switch is shut down, but like I was playing it earlier, and it's really bizarre not having the store open. And it sucks because like for people who don't have Nintendo Online, you either do have to play through that day and suffer, or you just time travel to the next day and everything's fine. Anyway, can you tell that I really like the artful items, especially that lamp? I love that lamp. And the bed. I do like the chair, but I talked about this in previous videos. I don't like how low to the ground it is. I think it's supposed to be like, you know, the floor seat or whatever it's called, and the cushion, like the Zen cushion, because like you're supposed to use it with the tea table and the kotatsu and the low coffee table items, like the Zen low table and whatever. And it's supposed to be like Japanese style seating. But I wish that it was either normal height or that we had another nice looking chair added, because the tubular chair is fine, but that is not comfortable. And I'm sure the artful chair isn't super comfortable either, but it does have like a padded cushioned seat, and that is kind of like what I imagine. Like, honestly, it would look good on a porch, like outside furniture, like in a yard. But it sucks because it's not the right height for a table, especially if you have a villager who's short. Although it doesn't really matter because you can't really sit in it anyway unless you pick up your villager and move them like you you go into the top-down view, which you can't do in the hotel rooms. And you can only really do that at Happy Home Paradise or at Harv's. But you can't really access it, or if it's half a tile away from a table or whatever, because of the arms. It's not like we can just like climb into these chairs, because Animal Crossing isn't that robust. But I really like the Artful Bed, and I don't think the Artful Bed is the same height as a regular bed either. It might very well be, I haven't checked. But I know the chair is lower to the ground. I do love the lamp, and I like the marble stuff too. I'm not a huge fan of some of the tubular items. I do like the tubular chair, and I think the tubular table looks neat, but stuff fits on it weirdly because it is a round table. Like, it looks like some of the things hang off the side of it. So I feel like you have to place stuff either in the middle of the table or in the middle, like on one of the sides. Like, you can't place things on all four corners. Although I think it depends on what the item is specifically. But a lot of the times I noticed when doing the interior decorating and using that item, same thing with like the rounded log table too, because they are round tables, stuff just looks weird on it and looks like it's about to fall, and I don't like that. Anyway, I have yapped for way too long here about pretty much nothing. I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. It's been so long. But next time will be very exciting. We'll have the shop upgraded finally. Hopefully I'll be able to buy a lot of turnips and then sell them for a big profit and then finish paying off our home loan. We just have the basement to do with the house after we do the home loan for the upstairs. And then after the basement, we're going to do the whole thing with the storage. We also need to start working on getting our island to 5 stars. I already kind of started moving around trees and flowers and getting rid of some trees, like even more so, because I got rid of a lot prior, but we're getting rid of more now. And we also, of course, obviously need to work on the Nook Miles goals, because that is the whole point of this. So thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this. Please leave any comments, feedback, and suggestions down below. Like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.